The sky over Los Angeles turned a deep shade of orange as wildfires spread uncontrollably, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. It was one of the most devastating wildfires in recent history, fueled by dry winds and parched vegetation after months of drought. The media covered the unfolding disaster extensively, but amidst the chaos, Donald Trump made headlines with a surprising observation. Upon hearing about the severity of the wildfires, Trump decided to visit the affected areas personally. Wearing a navy blue suit, he arrived with a team of officials, environmental experts, and reporters. As he walked through the charred remains of what were once thriving neighborhoods, Trump's expression was unusually thoughtful. During the visit, he paused near a section of burnt forest, bent down, and scooped up a handful of ash-covered soil. He examined it closely before turning to one of the environmental experts. "This soil doesn't seem right," he said, his voice steady but curious. "Considering the rainfall we had earlier this year, it shouldn't be this dry. Something feels off." The expert looked puzzled but intrigued. Reporters nearby captured the moment, and within hours, Trump's comments were circulating on social media and news channels. While some dismissed it as a baseless remark, others speculated that there might be more to the story. Determined to find answers, Trump ordered a thorough investigation into the wildfires. He insisted that the team include not only environmental scientists, but also forensic analysts to examine whether any foul play was involved. Despite initial skepticism, the investigation quickly gained traction as more unusual findings came to light. Over the next few weeks, investigators collected soil samples, analyzed weather data, and reviewed satellite imagery. They discovered traces of accelerants in several areas where the fires had spread unusually fast. This evidence pointed to the possibility that some of the fires might have been intentionally exacerbated. Trump held a press conference to share the preliminary findings. Standing at the podium with a determined expression, he addressed the gathered reporters. "This isn't just a natural disaster. There are signs that some of these fires were deliberately made worse. We will find out who is responsible, and they will be held accountable." The announcement sent shockwaves across the nation. Public pressure mounted on law enforcement agencies to act swiftly. In the following days, several arrests were made, linking certain individuals to illegal activities aimed at profiting from the destruction. These included real estate speculators who sought to buy devalued land and criminal groups involved in illegal logging. Meanwhile, Trump continued visiting communities affected by the wildfires, offering federal aid and support for rebuilding efforts. His unexpected empathy and proactive stance earned him praise, even from some of his usual critics. One of the most emotional moments came when Trump visited a small local school that had been turned into a shelter for displaced families. He met with children who had lost their homes and reassured them that they would have a place to call home again soon. A little girl approached Trump with a drawing of her house that had been destroyed in the fire. Holding back tears, Trump accepted the drawing and promised her that efforts were underway to rebuild. As the investigation concluded, new regulations were introduced to prevent similar incidents in the future. These included stricter controls on land management, enhanced surveillance of high-risk areas, and increased penalties for arson and related crimes. Local communities were also encouraged to participate in wildfire prevention programs, ensuring a collective effort to protect their homes and surroundings. The wildfire crisis sparked a broader national conversation about climate change and the importance of sustainable development. Environmental groups praised the swift action taken by the government, while others called for long-term solutions to address the underlying causes of such disasters. Trump's unexpected involvement in the issue brought attention to areas often overlooked, creating a rare moment of unity among different political factions. In a later interview, when asked how he noticed something that experts initially overlooked, Trump replied with a characteristic mix of confidence and humility. "Sometimes you just have to trust your instincts. It's about looking closely and asking the right questions." The story of Donald Trump's visit to the LA wildfires and his surprising discovery became a symbol of vigilance and responsibility. It reminded people that in times of crisis, paying attention to details and questioning the obvious can lead to significant change. Months later, as the affected areas began to recover, Trump revisited one of the hardest-hit neighborhoods. This time, instead of charred ruins, he saw newly built homes, thriving gardens, and children playing happily in the streets. He spoke with residents who expressed their gratitude for his involvement and determination to make a difference. Today, thanks to Trump's insistence and the subsequent reforms, communities across California are better prepared to handle future wildfires. His actions not only helped uncover a hidden truth, but also sparked a movement toward greater accountability and preparedness. One local leader summed it up best. Sometimes it takes someone from the outside to notice what we miss. Trump's visit didn't just bring hope, it brought change. As weeks turned into months, the story of Trump's wildfire investigation continued to inspire other states facing similar issues. Governors from neighboring states reached out to the investigative team to learn from their methods and apply similar strategies in their regions. This cooperation led to the establishment of a national task force dedicated to wildfire prevention and rapid response. In addition to local improvements, international organizations also took note. Environmental and humanitarian groups from around the world praised the effort and began collaborating on global initiatives aimed at tackling wildfires more effectively. Trump was invited to speak at an international summit on climate resilience, where he shared his experience and insights. Standing before a large audience of world leaders and environmental experts, Trump began his speech by recounting the moment he picked up the ash-covered soil. It all started with a simple observation, he said. Sometimes the smallest details can lead to the biggest discoveries. His speech was met with a standing ovation, marking a rare moment of bipartisan and international respect. Back in the United States, the reforms continued to take shape. Educational programs were launched to raise awareness about wildfire prevention, and funding was allocated to research new technologies for early detection and firefighting. Drone surveillance systems and AI-driven analysis tools were deployed in high-risk areas, significantly reducing response times during future incidents. Trump's involvement in the wildfire crisis also had a lasting impact on his public image. While he remained a polarizing figure in many respects, this particular episode showcased a different side of his leadership, one focused on problem-solving and community support. Media outlets that had previously criticized him acknowledged his role in uncovering the truth and driving meaningful change. Years later, a documentary was produced, chronicling the events of the LA wildfires and Trump's unexpected role in resolving the crisis. Featuring interviews with affected residents, investigators, and government officials, the documentary highlighted the importance of vigilance, cooperation, and decisive action in the face of adversity. The film was widely praised and even nominated for several awards. In the closing scenes of the documentary, the camera panned over the once devastated areas, now fully rebuilt and thriving. Children played in newly constructed parks, families gathered in community centers, and lush greenery had returned to the landscape. A voiceover narrated Trump's concluding remarks from his summit speech. "It's not about politics, it's about people. When we come together to solve problems, there's nothing we can't achieve." This story of resilience and transformation serves as a reminder that even in the darkest times, a single observation can spark a chain reaction leading to hope, recovery, and lasting change. And it all began with someone daring to ask, what if something isn't as it seems? Following the wildfire crisis, new partnerships were formed between private companies and local governments to develop sustainable solutions. Several tech companies joined the effort by creating innovative fire monitoring tools that utilize satellite imagery and machine learning to predict fire-prone areas. These tools were then integrated into local emergency response systems, greatly improving the speed and efficiency of firefighting efforts. Schools in California also began incorporating wildfire safety into their curriculum. Children were taught how to respond during emergencies, recognize early signs of danger, and understand the importance of environmental conservation. This education initiative aimed not only to protect future generations, but also to instill a sense of responsibility toward nature. Meanwhile, Trump's initiative gained recognition beyond national borders. Countries facing similar wildfire issues, such as Australia and Brazil, expressed interest in adopting the newly developed strategies. Delegations were sent to the United States to learn from the task force's experience, fostering international collaboration in combating wildfires. At a later event commemorating the recovery of the wildfire-affected regions, Trump was presented with a symbolic key to the city by the mayor of Los Angeles. In his acceptance speech, he reflected on the journey from devastation to recovery. This key represents not just rebuilding homes, but rebuilding hope. Together, we turned a tragedy into an opportunity to grow stronger. The audience erupted into applause, a testament to the lasting impact of the efforts made in the wake of the wildfires. What began as a simple visit to a disaster zone had transformed into a story of unity, resilience, and the power of paying attention to the smallest details.